All right, welcome from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television in Badon, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. It is time for Trend Watch on this show. This one, and I'm joined by the three musketeers, actually. That's what we call them here, okay? Oluwayemi Adelakun is back, and of course, Anolapo Idowu is also back in the studio. Let's talk about the trend. What are people talking about on social media as we speak?
And of course, just like you mentioned, it's the channel of choice, of course. We have a channel of choice also for a particular situation, and it's about the political terrain. The ADC now. ADC members protest in Katsina against Inec interference, demanding restoration of David Mark-led executive. So ADC members are in protest again in Katsina State, telling Inec to not be involved, of course, and they are demanding restoration of David Mark-led executives. That's exactly what we have as the Trend Watch today.
Quite interesting. You know, this kind of, we'll continue to have this kind of stories, just like we have always said, until, you know, the party decides to play internal politics, quality internal politics, the one that will make sure that everyone believes in the party. Until that time, I think the crisis will not end. There are some people who, I mentioned something recently and said, look, you joined the political party less than a month. And then they had to have their convention in their state, I mean, their congresses in their state, and then you went ahead to have your own congress somewhere else. As in how? How does that happen? Whoever told you to go and do that has given, unless you are one of those who have been said to be sent to sabotage the effort of that political party, or maybe further disintegrate that political party, I don't see a reason why such should happen. If you are going to take over from anyone in that political party, especially the executives, what you do is to have a congress with them in their political party, at the party office, or wherever it is that you have all chosen. And then you have to win. Party democracy must be played. But unfortunately, the same people that are complaining are doing the wrong thing. And I know, I've always said this, that members of the ADC, they know exactly where the problem is coming from. The only thing is, I don't know why they have not been able to solve it. Because this, for me, it looks like ego amongst all of them. I want the soul of the party. You want the soul of the party. The same thing that tore PDP into two. I mean, you cannot continue to do that. If there's no clear leader in the party that can be a rallying point for everyone, then there's a problem. Tell me who the leader is in the ADC. Is it Atiku Abubakar? His ambition will not let him play that role. Is it Peter Obi? I don't think he has played that role anywhere he has been to. Is this Rotimi Amechi? I don't think he has that quality to play the leader role, especially when people like Atiku are in the party. I mean, they are bigger when you look at what they have attained politically. I mean, Atiku has been the vice president of Nigeria before. He won an election to become governor of his state until he was unpicked to be the vice president to President Olusegun Obasanjo at that time. So, if you look at the trend in all these political parties, it still boils down to the fact that these protests will continue until someone sits down and says, please, let us all come back to the table. Just like Inec said, go back to the status quo. What was ab initio, what was going on in the party? And after that, you now transmit that into what you want to see in that political party. Things have to be done the proper way. We have always said this, that Ralph Nwufu should have handed over to the Ralph Aregbesola and David Mark-led faction of the ADC, was there illegally for 20 years. Over almost 20 years, or there were 19 years plus. So, and the constitution of that party, that same party you are talking about, says you can only be allowed to rule for 4 years and then stand for re-election for another 4 years, which is 8 years, meaning that it was there illegally for about 12 years. So that tells you that the crisis deepened even before Ralph Aregbesola and David Mark came into the party. Right.
So I always say this, that the problem, or let me say the crisis in ADC, or that conjugal bliss, was bound to have issues. At the first instance, when you look at that point when the likes of Atiku, the likes of Rotimi Amechi moved to the ADC, few months after that, we heard about signature forgery. And at that point, I knew that they will have more problems. And then they are saying, okay, Inec is trying to interfere so much in their party activities. Majorly, if you look at the authority Inec is exercising right now, is entrenched in the Constitution, especially the new Electoral Act. So at that point, I think that's why Atiku is calling for maybe a review of the Electoral Act. The one the president already gave his assent to. Yes, and then the problem is that it didn't take the president up to 24 hours to actually give his assent to the Electoral Act. So at the end of the day, with the look of things now, if at all ADC finds a way to solve their crisis, after the election, there will still be problems because of what we have on ground right now. And do you even know that people are also calling for the resignation of Amokpeto because according to them, they think he's partisan. And because of that, it's trying to cause issues for the opposition parties. At the end of the day, honestly, this country is a very funny country.
But how well can you be assured that there's no interference? That's even a conversation, because some have also alluded to the point that if there's a chance for Inec to allude. But let's take a few comments and see what Nigerians are saying very briefly. Whitney Banks says, in fact, I don't want to call this, Inec chairman ought to have that office. In fact, another person, Abdulaziz, says Inec chairman must go. That's also one of the conversations. But of course, that's people's take on that, and that's a good place to draw the curtains, right?
Well, it's a convenient place to leave the show this morning, and we'll say thank you for being a part of the show all through the week. And of course, do not forget to join us again next week. Same time, same station, same host. Samson Balogun is my name, and as I always say, security business is everybody's business. In your communities, if you see something, say something. Bye for now.
All right, my name is Oluwayemi Adelako. Thank you for being a part of the show. Do well to join us next week. And don't forget, your responsibility as a citizen of this country is to get your PVC and step out to vote.
And my name is Anolu Akpoido. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and bye for now.